Join us as we take you to another time and place when spring was in the air and new life the earth embraced.
The place was called Judea, a country by the sea. The time 2,000 years ago when the story came to be.
There was a little donkey, quite timid and so small, nothing he could do alone, no confidence at all. One morning, bright and early before the break of day, two men appeared and asked to have this little donkey good. Mother, I am frightened. I cannot leave your side.
Go, my son, and don't be scared, for God will be your guide.
Soon he met a special man, a king the crowd would say. He climbed onto the donkey's back and led him on his way.
This man was named Jesus. He came from Galilee. He traveled to Jerusalem to fulfill God's prophecy.
They traveled to the city. A crowd was gathered there. They heard these people shouting loud hosannas everywhere.
Hosanna!
Hosanna, we sing to Christ the King. Hosanna in the highest. Hosanna, we sing to Christ the King. Hosanna, now we sing. Hosanna, we sing to Christ the King. Hosanna in the highest. Hosanna, we sing to Christ the King. Hosanna, now we sing. Waiters on high, we cross along the way. The King is riding by. We celebrate this day. Hosanna, we sing to Christ the King. Hosanna in the highest. Hosanna, we sing to Christ the King. Hosanna, now we sing. Hosanna, Hosanna, the little children sing. Through pillar, court, and temple, the lovely and the brave. To Jesus who had blessed them, close folded to his breast. The children sang their praises, the simplest and the best. Hosanna in the highest, the ancient song we sing. For Christ is our Redeemer, the Lord of heaven, our King.
They said this Jesus was a king, the man on donkey gray. If this was true, why did he ride in such a humble way?
Yet we could sense his greatness as the palms the people spread. Perhaps he was a prophet, just as the people said.
Jesus led the little coat through the streets of that town and stopped him at the temple where chaos was all around.
He went into the temple, a marketplace was there. He shouted to the people,
"This is a house of prayer." Every day that Holy Week, he helped those in despair, teaching, preaching, healing, and giving love and care.
This week did pass so quickly. Jesus worked with no delay. When Thursday came, he spoke these words,
Let's feast upon this day. Go prepare a feast for us. We must be eating soon.
The little colt then took our Lord to an upper room.
As the feast was ending and communion almost done, Jesus said,
One will betray me.
Each asked,
Judas knew he was the one, just as the Lord had said. And with his purse of silver into the night he fled.
Peter spoke,
I won't deny your greatness, I'll proclaim.
but Jesus said,
The rooster will crow, and you'll deny my name.
My Lord, he seemed to know all this was meant to be. He climbed upon my back and led me to Gethsemane. It was there in the garden Jesus knelt in humble prayer. His disciples fell asleep as if they were not. Do not sleep, stay awake with me, Jesus did command. For very soon he will appear, my betrayer is at hand.
And he spoke some angry men around. Judas led the way. He kissed our Lord upon his cheek, and filling Jesus with dismay.
They took him to the priests and elders. They asked,
Who is this man?
I am the Son of God.
He said. They struck him with their hands.
The chief priests and elders wanted Jesus dead.
Let's take this man to Pilate.
Away my Lord was led.
Jesus stood in front of Pilate, a criminal accused. And Pilate asked the question, Are you the King of Jews? My kingdom is not of this world, Jesus did reply. For I was born into this world, the truth to testify. I have no case against this man, Pilate said aloud. Shall I release him to you? No, Barabbas filled the crowd. Our Lord was mocked, a crown of thorns placed on his head. A purple robe adorned his back. Away our Lord was led. Crucify him, take this man away. Crucify him, they began to say. Crucify him, he is not a loss. Crucify him, nail him to the cross.
When their trial was over, the crowd did attack. They landed upon the streets to watch him carry a cross upon his back. I wish I could have helped him. My heart was in despair. I wanted so to take his place and his burden share.
We were cooing in a tree at Golgotha that day when we saw the angry people bringing Jesus up our way.
And then something terrible happened to this man. They pounded nails into his feet and nails into each hand.
There upon a cross that day, our Lord was left to die, yet he was not the only one, 2 thieves replaced him.
Jesus spoke to them and said,
In paradise you'll be. It's a promise I give you. You'll be there with me.
Time had passed when suddenly darkness filled the sky. Jesus took his final breath and raised his eyes on high.
He said, Forgive me, Father, they do not understand. My God, I come to you. My spirit's in your hands.
On that hillside far away, they crucified our Lord. Truly, he was God's own Son, and one to be adored.
I carried my master's body to a place they called a tomb. I watched them seal it with this stone, a sign of final doom. For 3 long days I stood and waited patiently by the stone. I felt very sad and lost and totally alone. The 3rd day after Jesus' death, at the break of day, 2 women came to see the tomb, their last respects to pay.
As these women reached the cave, the earth did move and sway. A heavenly angel then appeared and rolled the stone away.
Don't be frightened, for this place is where your Lord has been. But lo, his body is not here, for Jesus lives again.
The woman left with fear and joy, good news of Christ to spread. He is alive! He is alive! He is risen from the dead.
Although I could not carry my master on his way, I carried the news of the miracle that happened on Easter Day.
Jesus died for each of us and rose that we might live. The gift of heaven given to all, the best gift he could give. Although centuries have passed, the story still is new. The joy of God's salvation remains forever true.